Welcome to the Men of Vision podcast. Listen, I really appreciate you guys joining me today. Listen, if you don't know much about Men of Vision, listen, let me first introduce myself. My name is Dwayne Roberts. I am the founder of Men of Vision Colorado. Got a little echo. Hold on, guys. Let me get this echo out my. Let me get my this echo out. You get an echo on your end, Josh?
No, I don't have it anymore. I had it there for a second.
All right. So you can hear me good?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
All right. Okay. But long to make sure I don't have an echo. Nope, I got an echo. Hold on one second. All right. How about that now?
Oh, I'm good. Are
No
you good?
echo? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. Good. No echo, no echo. Well, listen, Men of Vision Colorado is a 501c3 nonprofit. I got echo again. What's going on? I'm getting a bunch of echo on my end, my man. Give me a sec. Try to fix this out. Uh, Testing. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Making sure. Test 1, 2.
You're good.
All right.
Oh, mine. I don't have an echo.
All right. Well, again, we are 501c3, and I got a bunch of people. What is going on with my stuff? You hear echo, Teeth? I can't hear you, baby. I hear it. Yes. I need you to talk to me so I can. All right, hold on one second, guys.
Are you and T in the same room?
Yeah, but it's coming through my speakers.
Yeah, it's because probably because both of you guys are in the same room and both have that open.
Okay, hold on. Let's try it that way. 1, 2, 1, 2. No echo. Let's apply. There we go. Can you still hear me?
Yes, sir.
Ah, okay. All right. I'm not sure why I was getting feedback, but hopefully this will go through. Hope everybody can hear us without all that. This is with all echoes. Not sure why I got so much echo. Go into the settings. Tell you what.
If both of you are in the same room and are on the same call, that may be an issue.
Yeah, she stepped out. Hold on, real quick. I'm gonna change some things up in my settings. All right, who's coming in? Let them in. Somebody tried to get in. Admit. All right, testing 1, 2. How about that? Can you still hear me, my man?
Yes, sir.
All right, I think I might have fixed it. All right. Well, listen, we help ex-offenders. We help ex-offenders transition from prison back into society. So oftentimes these guys come out of prison feeling a little stuck, feeling uncertain. Can you hear that echo, Josh?
Yeah.
You hear it? I don't know where it's coming from. All righty. It's not that. I got to be able to hear him. Hold on. This is weird. We didn't have this problem. Let's try it that way. Apply. Bam. One more time. think I hopefully I got it this time. Man. All right. Hey, give me a thumbs up. Can you guys still hear me? All right. Well, listen, we help ex-offenders transition from prison and educate them or work with them through personal development, leadership, and life skills. We help them find jobs, things of that nature. And because of the each year, 100,000 individuals are released from prison, and um, within within 3 to 8 years, they find themselves back in prison due to recidivism. And so part of what I do is to really combat recidivism. And one element or one approach that I think can work is when ex-offenders see individuals doing the things in life that they want to be able to be doing too, because many of them don't have role models or examples in life, you know. And so and connecting with ex-offenders and talking with them, I often hear, well, I don't know anybody else that's doing it. And through my development, through my life changes, I've met many ex-offenders who have leveled up, so to speak, like I like to say. They have taken their life to new levels. They realized they went from lockup to success because they apply some simple principles in life to succeed, to be successful, to be winners in life. And I want to help those ex-offenders who may not realize that the hope is there, may not believe in themselves, and use this platform as a place where they can elevate themselves, see other individuals who spent time behind bars, who's now making a difference or impact in their community. And ladies and gentlemen, I got a powerful game changer speaker on the online with us today live. His name is Josh D. Brown Sr. Josh, man, I know we done some work together in Eric Thomas's Game Changer program. We done did some coaching with Coach Val, Coach Aisha. I've heard you speak, my man, and it literally has blown me away. And I want just to say thank you for being able to take time for your boy and coming and sharing your story, Cat.
Hey, thanks for having me. I take great honor in being considered on your platform. So thank you, and I appreciate the kind words.
Thank you. So I know it's been a long day, man. We talked briefly earlier, but I want to be able to really see to impact some lives, and I just want to share your story. So I'm a play your video, man. So, let's go back. I had it ready. I done switched things out, trying to figure out my. There we go. Here we go.
Man, I remember my stepfather, Gator, from Louisiana. He was like my superhero. And as a kid, he used to be to do everything that he did. I remember him pitching me baseballs and letting me hit it. He was my father because my dad was never there. But little did he know it, every time he asked me to go get a beer, it became a habit to where I wanted to get the beer for myself because I wanted to be just like him. He was never a bad parent. It just put me in a position to want to be a drinker because I felt like that's what my superhero was. See, the party that changed my life started right here. It catapulted me to just want to continue to drink, wanted to party, wanted to be the life of every party. But see, I walked to that party, but as I got older, I had the ability to drive to the parties, and it wasn't the right decision. All the while, it brought me to a mindset that I was just invisible. And I remember all my friends telling me, man, don't worry, we'll get home. Josh will drive. We'll get home. Josh will drive. Well, one time, the last time, hit a number. .159. And that number was my blood alcohol level the night that I killed somebody. The night that I didn't make it home. The night where, oh, he's the best drunk driver, stopped. I can hear my mom right now rushing into the hospital. Can I speak to Kat? Who's Kat? See, I didn't even know who I was, so my mother couldn't even identify me when she came to the hospital because I didn't have any identification. So all she knew was to ask for Kat. As I'm laying on my bed, it could have possibly been my deathbed. There was no answer for her. See, and I caused that just by wanting to be a life of a party. But see, what was so crazy about my situation and the story, the same part that I told you I was drinking and I was partying that night was the exact same spot where I wrecked and killed Mr. Nelson Robinson. I hit a bunch of mailboxes. These mailboxes. These mailboxes right here represent a life that I can never take back. It represents bad decisions. It represents bad habits. It represents pride. All I had to do that night was literally call a cab, get in the car with a friend. But no, I thought that I could make that same drive, continue to make the same bad decisions, and it was always going to be okay. There comes a point in time in life where we just got to stop, think, and process what it is that we need to do. We can't go further in life not creating habits that's going to help you accomplish your goals. See, I didn't do any of that. But you have the ability today to stop, think, and process what it is you want to do. Take away all the negative things that you're doing in your life. Write them down. And from that moment on, move in that direction. See, because had I put in perspective what I wanted in life, these mailboxes would have never had to be rebuilt. My life would have never had to be rebuilt. Mr. Robinson's family would never have to try to rebuild a piece that they can't even get back. And it was my fault because I wanted to be the life of the party. I had to understand, laying in prison, just sitting there thinking, man, when am I going to get out of here? Why did I do it? Those hard times in prison, I remember the Robinson family telling them straight up, man, he doesn't belong to get out. That was year 2 when they denied me parole. Year 3, they set me free. And that's when I learned that sometimes you have to go through something to grow. And in that tough time, in that pressing, man, I thought it was a struggle, but it built me to who I am today. That I'm able to stand here and say to the Nelson family, I truly am sorry for what I did. Your grandfather, your father, your husband deserve more than .159. My family deserve more than .159. And because I live now at .000, I'm able to sit here and share with you the advantages that you can have in life by making better decisions. Hey, you know what I said, do it the JB way. I have the advantages to your solutions. Let's live a sober life.
My man, powerful story. Powerful stories. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you Josh D. Brown.
Hey, how are you? How are you guys doing out there tonight?
And we doing good, good, good. Man, I'm so glad to have you. Man, I don't even know where to start with this one, Kat. Such a powerful story to hear. What you went through and then just to know how you bounce back. And so I guess the best way to do this is just start from the beginning, my man. Just share a little bit about who you are, where you come from, and how you make an impact, and then just drive us into us into how this whole thing began to happen?
Well, as you said before, I'm from a small town, Shepherdstown, West Virginia, and I grew up around some heavy drinkers, and I was engulfed in sports, so my whole life revolved around sports, and I became fairly, I guess, privileged through sports. So I got away with a lot of things that I shouldn't have, and that was just the environment that I had lived around. And of course, it created bad habits. I know you heard in the video where I said we can't move forward in life not creating habits that help us accomplish our goals. Well, I had habits and I had goals, but my habits and goals just didn't mix. Um, and I think one of my biggest downfalls in life was my ability to still be successful in life while drinking. Um, and I know in high school and in college, I had some pretty high accomplishments while I was still drinking. So I had got the mindset, yes, that I am invisible, and yes, that I can do it. Like I had the recipe to success to be a functional drinker and still accomplish everything that I wanted to. And that carried on through into my adult age. And I was still a heavy drinker. And I remember, I want to say about probably 3 to 4 months before my accident, I kept hearing, it's time to stop drinking. I was in the middle of coaching football and I really wanted to focus in on coaching. I was a supervisor hitting the 1 year mark at FedEx. So I was really trying to perfect what it is I was doing. And remember I had put in for a um a better opportunity at FedEx, and then it was okay. We're coaching, so it's okay. My life is moving in the right direction, and I drove home one night from a bar, and I remember waking up, and all I had on was my boxers, and I was like, now my security is at risk. Like I don't even know how I got home. I don't I don't know what happened. So I called and he's like, man, what happened? It was like, oh well, you just said that you was leaving and you left the bar. But nobody ever thought it's like, okay, well, he's hammered, he's drunk, he don't need to drive. But I had gained that reputation that he's fine. He's gonna make it. And that carried on, throughout my whole life to get to that point. So I had stopped drinking for a while. And then I was coaching on the football team at Jefferson High School, and we had graduates from from Glenville. We had graduates from Shepherd, and it was their homecoming. It was probably about, I say like 7 miles from the school, and we had coaches meetings that morning. So we had left the coaches meetings, and we had stopped at the liquor store, and I had bought, some miniatures, just to, drink and tailgate. And then somebody started giving me some moonshine. I don't remember exactly who it was because I don't have a lot of memorization from the accident. So everything I'm going to tell you right now is just stuff that I was told. So I had some drinks, went into the game. I had a couple more drinks in there. Left at halftime, went back to the tailgate. I had some more drinks. Watched the game, went back, had some more drinks, and then it was time to go home. Well, the person who was with me knew that I had been drinking, knew that I was a drinker, but he had no idea like how intoxicated I was because of my ability to hold it together. So he apparently walked with me to my car. He said, I never staggered, never stumbled, never did anything, never nothing to the point to where he thought that maybe I shouldn't be drinking. And I got in my car to drive home. And next thing you know, I'm waking up and I'm in the hospital. Well, for 2 days, I didn't know what happened. And, everybody was, oh, you was in an accident. I had, a broken collarbone. I had two collapsed lungs. I had a humerus fracture in my arm. I had a chip bone in my hip, and I had a concussion. So like I'm laying down and I'm sitting there just wondering how this happened. And I remember my friend was in the room with me, and he's a real very blunt friend. He's never going to sugarcoat anything. And the hospital got to the point to where I was having too many visitors, and they were worrying about me healing. So the nurses and the doctor told my mom, we need to draw back his visitors. So they gave the opportunity for me and my friend to be sitting there. And this was about Tuesday. I wrecked on a Saturday. And I could tell that something was just different in the room. You know, people, it wasn't just the happy go lucky. And I understand that I was hurt, but I had survived. So like, and they say that, you know, I was going to be okay. Just, you know, had some complications, had some therapy. So it was like, why is everybody so down? Well, when we got to the point where we were alone, he looked at me. He said, "You know, you killed somebody, right?" And I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah." He was like, "The man you hit, he didn't make it." And he told me, so he died that night. And I'm thinking like, I'd wrecked on Saturday, and I'm just finding this out on Tuesday. So he had left, and I'm sitting there, and I'll never remember. I got my, you know, hands behind my head. I'm watching TV, and I just started to cry. And I'm like, "Oh God, please, like, why?" You know, tears are running my eyes, and I'm begging God, you know, show me like why, show me what happened. I wanted to see the accident. I wanted to understand what it is that I did, and like draw me into that moment. And then I started to cry, you know, wondering like, why did I survive? Because I didn't remember anything. You could have killed me that night, and I never would have suffered, never would have knew anything, and I was just been gone. And I felt that that was the right way for me to go, because I was the one that was drinking and driving, and Mr. Nelson wasn't. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm just stressing the stress, and I'm crying, and you know. So then the next day, a lawyer comes in, and he, you know, was like, blah blah, whatever, this and that. We got everything handled. Just going with your normal life. And I probably think that was probably one of some of the worst advice I was ever given throughout this process, because, you know, when you look back in the grand scheme of things, I didn't apologize to the family that happened. I went back coaching football the next week, and then I went on and started coaching basketball the following month. But that was all under guidance of legal advice. And I was like, and I had said to him too, I was like, you know, you said you were going to handle it. They were going to figure out, you know, when they put a warrant out for my arrest. They promised me that they would get a meeting with the family. So I'm sitting there for like a month waiting for all this to happen so I could sit and talk with the family, because it was my action, and I never tried to act like I didn't do it. But you know, I was letting the process play itself out, but I wanted to apologize. And I never got that opportunity. And after I got the warrant for my arrest, I ended up actually leaving that lawyer and going to another lawyer. And then he, you know, tried to get a time where I could speak to the family. And then at that point, it was just a little too late. I don't think that they wanted to hear from me at that point. And it wasn't that I was being rude or disrespectful. I was just following the lead of others' advice. And then I think one thing I've learned from that is, you know, to follow your heart. Like, you know what is right in life. You know what you should and shouldn't do. And I should have, because I was in the wrong, I should have taken that time to give them the respect that they needed, that they deserved, and went on and told them, you know, how I sincerely felt. And that was just, I mean, that was just a huge moment in my life. Is like, you know, we can't allow people to guide you in places that they don't know where you're going. And that can be good or bad. So I now live because of that moment, knowing that, you know, there's going to be some things that people don't agree with. There's going to be some people that hate you for what you want to do, but at the same time, I have to do what's right in my heart, because I'm the one walking this path. I'm the one that has to deal with the consequences and repercussions of what it is I'm doing. So I always know that I'm gonna put one foot forward. Put one foot forward and move one day at a time, knowing that I'm making the right decisions. I'm doing what's best for me, because, like, my mind told me, it told me a lot. Stop drinking. My mom told me apologize to this family, but I never had the opportunity to do that because I listened to other people thinking they were going to guide the ship for me, and the whole time I had the ability to guide the ship of where I was going.
Mm, that's good. That that is good. We still got you, Jay. Think you
I'm
froze.
here.
Okay, I thought I saw you go out. No, that's good. Just guiding yourself. I like something you said though, and you know, oftentimes I think we find this. A lot of guys find themselves in this position, trusting the word of their attorney. You know, we these guys are being are sitting in these jail cells or sitting in these court systems, trusting the guidance and advice of attorneys and people that they paying money to, and only to get ill advice, man. That's a tough place to be in, think, especially when you know for yourself, you have this strong desire and will to make it right, and you're trying to go off the guidance of others who's been there that do this. But however, this thing really almost seemed like it didn't work out like it should have. So you said this: follow your heart. Um, what's some advice for those individuals that's finding themselves now, they in that position, they came out and now they're trying to figure it all out. How do they follow their heart in doing the things that they want to do in this point in place of transition?
I think the biggest point and a point of transition was understanding where I wanted to go, because I knew that when I got out, there's this thing like, oh well, he's a felon, or oh, they're a felon, so like there's already one strike against us, and we have to understand that. We know that some of our actions um we'll never live our life without the repercussions of what we did. But we have to be able to understand at times that there will be no's. There's going to be doors that don't come open. But if we understand where we're going and keep the mindset that, we're going to have to push, we're going to have to persevere, we're going to have that patience, and knowing that it's a journey. Like, we're not going to get out and everything's just going to be perfect. There's going to be some things that you're going to have to go through, just like you survived prison. So if you survive prison, you can survive the outside world. It's just, there's going to be emotions that you're going to feel, but what are you going to do? Like, we can only control our reaction, or, our actions. So like, if somebody you feel like shorthands you because of, what you did. I mean, I know there's so many times where I didn't get jobs that I think that I was very, qualified for. And I was even told, man, we want to hire you, but then 2 days later, oh, we can't hire you, felony. So like, but I couldn't get down on myself. I had to understand that there's going to be open doors, and there's just going to be things that I have to go through. We just have to be patient and withstand the journey. Don't think it's a race. It's not going to come overnight, but through time, one day at a time, one moment, 1 minute, 1 hour, you will accomplish what you want to accomplish. You just have to ride the wave, learn the journey, understand the journey, and walk it. You there?
So, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. No, that's real good. um Something in the chat, somebody bought, my wife brought this to my attention. um Hold on real quick. Let me pull this up, see if I can find it now. Tifa, where was that? Where, babe? I don't see it. So, but hey, bring it here, Tifa, so I can read it. Read it. Read it. I want to read it. I want to read it. Hey, so we got this that just came in the chat, Josh, and it said from Hillary Smith. It says, she says, yes, it is. I am the granddaughter of Mr. Nelson, but I forgive, and God is good. Did you get that, Josh?
Yes, yes, sir. I did.
There you go, T. Thanks. Yeah, my wife brought that to me, and I just wanted to read it. I couldn't find it in the chat for myself to highlight it. However, my next question for you, my man, is um, what was your mindset going in? What was your mindset going in prison? What were you? How did you figure you was going to make this do this time? What were some of the things that help you do this time?
Well, first let me comment on Miss Smith's comment, and let her understand that I do appreciate her support, and it means so much to me because I remember, and I'll get to this. The hardest time that I spent in prison was trying to live for their approval,
Mm.
because I wanted so much for them to forgive me, because I didn't mean it. Like, when I mean to tell you, I have no memorization of that day whatsoever. The drive, the accident, the scene, nothing. And I really wanted them to know that, like, I was sorry. I never was able, I'll never be able to bring their life back, but I'm not a murderer. You know, I've been called that before. I was told that I used my car as a weapon, and that was never my intent. I didn't set out to hurt anybody. But I am very thankful that she forgives me, and I give all glory and honor to God because I believe in He's the healer of all healers, and I think her forgiveness it says the testament of who she is because maybe not everybody in that family's forgiven me, but she has. She stepped out on her faith, and she's walking her walk, and that's what a lot of us need to do is like just walk your walk, understand who it is that you are and where you're going, and just, push. I mean, the push to just be you is amazing, and so many doors and opportunities. The joy of your day will be so much brighter. So, Miss Smith, I want to personally say thank you for forgiving me, and it also says a testament of what I've done since I've been out. A lot of prisoners go to prison. We have these grand plans until we get out. Then we're faced with opposition, or we're faced with the realities of life outside that we fall apart. But I've been able to continue to walk the walk that I said that I was going to walk. And I think that is a big part of why she's probably able to forgive me because what I say that I wanted to do and what I'm doing, I'm actually living it. So um, I'm thankful that I'm able to be the man that I said that I was going to be because I sat there for 3 years wondering, man, will I ever or how's this going to work out? So it's a relief to me that she said that because it means so much. Now, the part of what you're asking, how the process. Well, first of all, I had never been locked up until my sentencing because obviously when I was in my accident, I went to the hospital. When they released me to the hospital, I was out on almost 2 months before they even put a warrant out for my arrest. And I immediately posted bail like 2 hours after I turned myself in. So I never have actually been inside of jail until the day that I went. And to me, I believe that God always protected me and looked over me because I remember when I went in and I looked up and an inmate had wrote one day at a time. So it was a very clear message to me, like how I was going to be able to do this time. It was just live life one day at a time. I couldn't look at 2 years. I couldn't look at 3 years. And I think this is the first thing I ever said publicly that I think really I held on to. I held on to one thing. I held on to something was said at my court date, and I'll get into that later. But then one thing that I held on to that hurt me was the lack of forgiveness between the Robinsons. Like I said before, I had never been locked up, so I wrote a letter to them trying to apologize, and it wasn't received well. It was actually brought up at my hearing that I did it, and like they drilled me for reaching out, and I'm like, well, what do you want? And I'm talking about to the parole board, not them. It's like, what do you want? You want me to be a better person? In order for me to be a better person, I feel like I need to apologize for my actions so I can move forward. I sent them this letter, and now you're telling me I don't deserve to go home. You're telling me that I should have never done this. I was like, well, what do you want me to do? So that first 2 years I feel like was kind of like this. But hearing some of the things that the Robinsons had said about me in that parole hearing really, um, I say it woke me up. It was some things that I didn't agree with, but I respect it. And I told my family, they have the right to feel that way. They could hate me for the rest of their life, and there's nothing that I can do about that because I can't put myself, I can't tell them how to act toward me because of the pain and the suffering that I caused them. Some of them may hurt the rest of their lives because he was taken um, as such in such a tragic way. And I remember being in prison, man. They would be calling me, "Oh, you don't even deserve to be in here. You got a college degree." So I had to deal with trying to mentally tell myself, "Do not get comfortable in where you're at." I remember people telling me, "Oh, well, he was 87. He lived his whole life." There were so many things that people threw at me to make me comfortable with what I did and make me comfortable with spending this time. And it's just like, no, like it's still not right that he took a life that way. I could have easily turned my mindset into a prisoner. Like, oh man, he was 87. He lived the whole life. Um, you know, at least I didn't kill a child. Like these were the things that were said to me, and I never could really hold on to that and use them as motivation to get better. My thing was like I wanted to be motivated to that it never happened again and make people aware of it. Not, oh my God, he was just 87. So that was challenging. But I say one thing that I held on to was I'll never forget it. Um, Somebody in the family stood up and he said that if they sentenced me to prison, they would see to it that I made first parole. And a DUI causing death, you're not making first parole. I didn't know that at the time, sitting in a courtroom, and people would tell me that. Like when one of the first things they ask you in prison, what's your charge? What's your charge? That's just prison 101. And I'm like a DUI causing death, and they were like, your first instance like it's first time I've ever been in trouble. And the first thing that people would say to me, you're not going home the first time. And I held on to like, nah, I'm good. I never told them, why, you know. It was like, I remember what he said. I remember what he said. And I went to prison, and you got something called an RIPP. And that is really a guide of what they want you to do to better yourself. And I had one class, one, RSAT. I took 15 classes. I never had downtime. I was a teacher's aide. I helped people with college work. I helped people find home plans. I worked on road crew. I worked in the gym. I worked in the kitchen. I worked in admin. I was a janitor on a unit. Everything. I was an aide for a guy who couldn't walk. So I would go get his trade. Everything that I could possibly do in prison, I I did to try to better myself. Or the first 2 years, I say I did it to try to make parole. I wanted a perfect sheet. So when I walk in, I seen the Robinsons, and I was excited because I'm thinking like, oh man, they said that I make first pro, and I spoke. Well, my parents spoke, then I spoke, and then they spoke, and I remember, he's a murderer. I remember he used the car as a weapon, and like it was like a weight hit me like whoom, and all I'm hearing is. We'll see to it he make first pro. We see to him make first pro. We see to him make first pro. And all I'm sitting there thinking like, everything that I did is going down the drain. Like nobody's going to hold them accountable for what they said. Like why? And then I'm looking back at my mom and I'm just seeing that she's crying. And then I'm seeing that my grandmother, like, why did my grandmother come here and see this? Like, I just thought that this was going to be a day, of rejoicing. I did my time. I've been the perfect inmate. I did everything they asked. They said that you'll see till you make first parole. We'll see. We will look at you. They looked at me and said, Mr. Brown, we don't think that you're ready to make first parole. We don't see that you're a changed man. So right now we're going to give you a flat. We see you this time next year.
Wow.
And that was it.
Wow.
So then I go over and I sit into this, we call it the tank. And you sit in the cell by yourself. They have you, to decompress before they let you go back. And all I kept hearing myself say was, you have to stop living for other people. You have to stop living for other people. In that next year, I lived it as a completely free man mentally because I had to let go of if the Robinsons hated me. I had to let go of what people thought about me in the community. And I had to completely focus on getting better as a person. And that's when I believe I began to walk in my purpose. I began to see where it is that God was leading me. I began to try to perfect my craft. I began that book in prison, the book that is getting to be released here in the next couple of weeks. I started that back in 2016 in prison because that's when I finally felt help. And listen, don't get it wrong. Was I hurt when I felt that man in the Robinsons took back his word and did that? Yes, but I still respected what they said because I can never tell them how to feel and deal with their pain because I caused it. So I didn't hate them, but I was just upset because for 2 years I held on to that. Oh, you're not going to make first pro. You're not going to make first pro. And I was just smile. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. But I was let down, and that just let me know, like, we have to learn to live for ourselves, understand and accept life for what it is, and just choose to get better every day. And then when you don't get better, learn from it. And I always tell everybody, people this, listen, I never lose. I'll never lose another day in my life because whatever doesn't go my way or whatever someone feels a setback, I'm going to learn from it so that it may not happen again. So I still gained. I became brighter. I become smarter. I become more, I guess, prepared for the no's or adjustments. So I look at life as that I'm a survivor and I'm able to survive and be where I'm at because I understand that it's a journey. I've said that a lot today. It's like life is a journey. It's not a sprint. There was a long time in life where I was really successful. And there's going to be a long time in life that, there was a long time in life that I was in down and I was in suicide and then I was in depression and then I was in anxiety and I was taking pills just to try to sleep because I kept dreaming of wrecks and car crashes and accidents, but it was never a rig truck and a gray SUV, which was ours. it was always these random things. So like there was a time where like it was hurt, but now I'm free and I'm going to live in that. And I have to understand that in time something else may come that to may stand against me, but I know who I am and whose I am and where I'm going. So I'm better prepared for what life has to come at me because I've learned from the past mistakes that I've made.
Oh, that's real good, man. You hit on so many great things. You talked about. I was going. My one of my questions for you was, you said don't get comfortable, and then I was going to ask you how do you not get comfortable, and what did it take for you not to get comfortable? But you answered that. How you took these classes, how you began to start helping other people, how you just began to go into service. But I want to back up real quick because, man, I can really feel your heart with Miss Smith, her statement of forgiveness for you, and I know you know this, my man, but I got to say this to you though, because so often people say this to me: don't see yourself how others may see you, but see yourself how God sees you, and the God we serve, the God that I know, is a forgiving God. And he forgave you for those issues. And oftentimes it just requires us to really find that forgiveness within ourselves. It's too easy to be held down by all the name calling, people calling you the murderer, a killer, a convict, but you had to get to this place for yourself where you just had believe what God had to say for you, to stop living in the for others and begin to just identify who God called you to be, that very destiny of purpose. You tapped on purpose, of your purpose. And I shared this the other day with somebody. I was talking about Joseph and what Joseph had to go through. And in essence, Joseph had to go to the pit, to slavery, to jail, to get to the place that God wanted him to be. And oftentimes it doesn't make sense to be in this pit where we feel stuck. We looking up and we feel trapped. It's uncomfortable to realize that our life, that we should use our life to be a slave or a servant. Let's just say a servant to others, because that's what he really was. He was a servant to his master. But then look what caused him to go to jail, and he spent this time in jail only to find his purpose. This is what I believe about Joseph. Joseph had to go to that process because he lacked some identity. He lacked some skill set. He lacked his true worth. If you really consider it, during that time, his father sent him to go find his brothers. Why? Because the brothers were shepherding the sheep. If you know history or tradition, it was tradition for the youngest sibling to herd the sheep. Why was it that Joseph wasn't herding the sheep, but the brothers were? I believe Joseph, like scripture said, was his father's favorite. He was nursed, he was covered, he was protected. He didn't have to do the work, and his dad sent him to go find his brothers, and he's got this arrogant attitude about who he is because he doesn't know himself, and oftentimes we just got to walk in this place where we can just begin to see that what we go through, the pitfalls, uh, what may look like slavery or serving others or being behind bars, the inconsistencies of life, the challenges of life, the hardships of life, um, the lack of direction in life, all lead us to a place of purpose, man. That's just amazing. Listen, I got,
I wanted to comment on that.
go ahead, my man.
You talked about Joseph, and my original plan for the book was supposed to be from prison to palace.
Mm.
And I think you asked me to give encouragement to somebody who just got out and somebody who's really trying to do the right thing. And the one unique thing about that story is that when Joseph's brothers came to stand in front of him, they didn't recognize him. So I say that to say this: for the person who's out there that's trying to do the right thing. For the person out there who's maybe looking for support from people that they thought that would be there, they don't recognize you because they don't understand where you're going.
Mm.
They don't understand that the time that he was in prison and the time that he was, going through that process and building himself up, he was coming out a different person. So don't be surprised who's not in your corner. Be very intentional about who you allow around you, because where you're going, not everybody is going to see it for you, and not everybody can go where you're going. So don't come out with expectations that your circle will always stay the same because you've changed in the midst of your trials.
Mm.
You went through that storm to be purified into something else. And not everybody has the vision. Not everybody has the want to see you succeed because of what you've been through. Some of you are going to get out of prison, or some of you out of prison, you're going to go further than the places that people are already at. And they're not readily accepted to where you're going, and they may not even want to see where you're going, but you have to continue to fight the good fight. You have to understand if you can conquer patience, you can conquer the world. You have to understand that you are worthy, and you have to understand it is your destiny and your calling, and no one can stop it. So get yourself around like-minded people, grow into that, and understand some people have to be cut off,
Mm.
because the best thinking that you thought was where it was before is what got you in a situation when you're at. But you've grown, you've been bruised, and you've dealt with your scars. So just fight on. Don't let it, hold you back, and understand that maybe one day people will understand the glory and the grace that's stored upon you, because what you went through qualified you for where you're going.
Ooh. Oh man, that's good. What you've been through qualified you for where you going. Man, that's real good. So realize that you need to circle yourself around some new like-minded people, cut some people off, and fight on. Man, that's awesome, brother. That's real awesome. I know our time is short. We had some technical difficulties, but listen, man, I just want to say thank you, my brother, for taking time and joining me this evening. I want to say thank you to you guys that's on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, if you're on with me live in the chat, drop in some JBs for my man, Josh Brown. Go ahead, drop in some JBs in the chat for Josh, please, please, please. Was that amazing? Listen, maybe some of you might have some questions. Do you have any? If you're on live with me and you got some questions, please unmute yourself and direct your questions to Josh while we got him available. We're gonna go into question and answers for a quick 3 to 5 minutes, man. Josh, you cool with that?
Oh, I'm fine. As long as you need me, I'm here.
That's what's up. We got a JB in the chat for Josh. Come on, guys, drop some JBs in the chat for Josh. Powerful story. Anybody want to unmute and ask Josh a question, or maybe you want to put your question in the chat? Anybody got a question that you want to put in the chat? But listen, Josh, somebody, Nikita Johnson said, powerful, JB. Awesome. JB, tell a little people about what you're doing, how you make an impact in your community today.
Well, I'm a chaplain at Martinsburg football, and we do something in a Bible study every Tuesday, and I think it's amazing because it's called The Main Thing, and we try to instill Christ, of course, faith, and build their character, and we want them to understand that yes, we play football, and yes, we're very successful, but the main thing is still the main thing. Obviously, it's what we call the main thing. So I help build people up with kids in their faith through high school football. I travel and I speak at prom promises. I've spoken at Black Lives Matter, different events. I normally try to travel around and tell people my story to get them to understand that it can happen to anybody, and that we need to live at 0.000 when we get in the car to take off. I've also just completed a book called Prison to Purpose: My Road to Redemption, Your Road to Triumph, that excuse me, I'm really excited about, and I really think it's going to really bring some hope. I got a little formula at the end of the book that I felt helped me get to where I am today. So I'm really excited about people getting to chapter 8 to about 12 in my book. So I'm really excited about that, and I just continue to push forward. I always say it's better to live it than just talk it. So I guess the best way that I do what I do and be successful in it is living it daily.
Man, that's good. Better to live it than just talk it. You know, I'm writing down all your quotes, Cat. I'm gonna be using them. That's real good. Sucks. I almost forgot my train of thought. You said book. Listen. Oh, that's what I wanted. I want to order 3 books from you, my mans. If you would please, before we get off, I want to make that happen. Because I believe in blessing those, blessing others, no doubt. Guys, anybody got any questions for Josh before we get out of here? Any questions? Yep. Well, listen, maybe you might be interested in Josh's book, man. Listen, you can go get From Prison to Purpose. Go over to www.joshdbrown.com. That's right. He's a motivational speaker. I can attest to that. He's a life coach and a recovery coach, and how to make decisions that positively affect your future. Josh, my man, again, I just want to say thank you, my man, for joining me today. I truly
Hey, brother Robert.
appreciate it. Hold on, I got a question. Go ahead. Is that a question? I think.
I just wanted to ask our dear brother JB. I probably missed it because I hopped on a little late. Forgive me. Uh, how how are you? How have you taken or accepted, if there is any, apology from the victim's family?
You said if there isn't or is.
I'm sorry.
Did you say how to accept if there isn't or is an apology?
If there is or isn't.
Both.
I'd say this. I travel and I speak to high schools. I speak to colleges. I speak student athletes. I believe that one of the biggest things, of course, I want them to forgive me because I didn't mean what I did, but I believe that the greatest testimony, the greatest joy will be the day where I can go on a stage and allow somebody from the Robinson family speak on the hurt and speak on what I caused them, so they can hear that and not just somebody saying, oh, you can do better. So a part of the forgiving is because I really want them to help push this movement to understand it's not okay drinking and driving. Now, if it never comes and I never get the apology, that I'm not saying that I deserve, but I just wish that I had. I have to understand, and this is something that I learned in Game Changers, is that every time I get on a call, every time I step on a stage, every time that somebody reads my book, I am honoring it. I am honoring Mr. Nelson Robinson, because who am I to not get on the stage and give back? Who am I not to dedicate my time to pushing a message or helping somebody? Because I took a life, and I owe that to him. I owe that to his family. Not that I can bring him back, but I can help by letting someone else understand their decision so that nobody else sees that. So my thing is just continue doing what I'm doing, and hopefully one day they will accept my apology or give me the opportunity to at least speak to them. And if they ever do, I pray that they can come with me on this journey and we can begin to, I say, heal some kids that are going through an addiction that we may not even know, or prevent them from going down that road.
Oh, that's real good. That's good. Did that answer your question, Adam?
It did. It did. I meant to say from the family, if they was giving him if they have forgiven him. But he answered my question. Thank you, JB.
I see where somebody posted, do I see myself as a felon?
Yeah.
No, I'm not a felon. I'm someone who had a felony. I am a man who served his time. I'm a man who did what I was asked to do of the state, and I'm a man who changed. A felony is just a part of something that was behind me. I no longer live in prison. I'm no longer a criminal. I'm no longer 3593090. I'm no longer Mr. Brown, the inmate. I am Joshua D. Brown Sr. I am a motivational speaker. I am a role model, and I am someone who is here to make an impact. I am not a felon. I'm just someone who had a felony.
Wow. Beautiful, man. No doubt. And hold on, let me add one too. You are a man of God. That
Yes, sir.
that's with a pure heart, with pure intentions, grace. strength, integrity. I love it. Transparency. Beautiful, just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Anybody else? Hold up, I think I see another question. When did you release yourself? That's the question. When did you release yourself of that answer, of the answer you gave? How did that come about? Like when did that piece come over you?
I first felt healing, and that's how I know that I was walking in my purpose. The very first day, I was a prisoner who was taken out of prison to go talk to public schools. I
Mm,
was taken out of prison to speak at colleges. I was taken out of prison to speak at junior highs. I was taken out to speak at high schools, at junior police academies. So God showed me his desire and my purpose while I was incarcerated. I literally got to walk free out of prison with no shackles, with just some counselors to go share my story. And the first day I got up and I spoke in front of about 1,000 some kids, I felt the release in me to understand this is how I give back from what I took away. So the day that I stepped on stage in a khaki outfit as a prisoner with kids looking at me like, oh, he's just some old prisoner from Town Correctional Center. When I was able to share with them, and I'm gonna be honest with you, a little girl came up to me after I spoke and she was crying and she said that her father had been in and out of prison her whole life and she hated him because he was never there, not a good father. And she said, hearing me speak let her understand that there are good people in prison, and because of me, she could forgive her father. So that right there told me, okay, Josh, you still have purpose even though you're in a dark place. And that's when I seen who I was and released myself from the guilt that I was living with.
man, that's beautiful. Listen, let me ask you this. Uh, Somebody said amazing grace and favor. Yeah, absolutely. That, Nikita, amazing grace and favor from our Lord and Savior. And my question for you, Josh, is how do you reach those with a fixed mindset? I know you gave me some solutions, but what about those individuals who just can't see the way out? What's a way that you connect with them to help them kind of open up their perspective?
First, get them to the point where they understand that they're worthy of the change.
Mm,
A lot of people that I seen, we spoke and you told me that in 3 to 8 years people return to prison. Well, I've been locked up and I've seen 2 to 3 months people return back to the same prison that we were at. And it was just they didn't understand any better. They didn't like they was like, this is me, this is who I am. They accepted it. Like they didn't feel like they was worthy to even go out. So first is tapping into for them understanding and who they are and understanding where they're trying to go. So if they're out and they got this fixed mind and you're trying to get them to change and move in a direction, it's like, okay, but dude, what direction you want me to move in? Because I don't even know where I'm going. So how do we expect someone that's coming out of prison who may only have $10 to their name, may have family that disown them, who are probably staying in the shelter? You have to get them to understand where it is and get them to want to go somewhere. Because if they don't have a vision, if they don't have a plan, for lack of knowledge, people will fail. So you have to get them to understand where it is they're going, that they are worthy, and want them to begin to see, okay, yeah, I can change, I want to change, I will change. And it all starts with your mindset. It's a mindset shift.
no, that's beautiful, my man. That's really beautiful. Well, listen, guys, we have reached our time. I want to thank you guys for joining us. I see the JBs in the chat from Sandy, Miss Latifa, Miss Nikita. I truly appreciate it. We thank you for your questions and answers. Listen, by all means, be sure to go over to joshdbrown.com and check out his website, man. If you're looking for a motivational speaker within your organization, I promise you, you won't be disappointed. Go over or order the book. Make sure you purchase the book From Prison to Purpose. Awesome. Like I said, Josh, man, I'm looking for three copies of your book. Listen, if you're trying to level up and you want to get to the next level, join your boy. That's right, Coach D Rob on the 21-day success builder. I help people get to the next level. Maybe you're feeling stuck. Maybe you want to earn that next degree. Maybe you want to looking for that promotion in life. Maybe you're just looking for the new transition. How can I transition? Go over to DwayneHRoberts.com, and there you can schedule your free discovery call with your boy. I truly appreciate it. Josh, my man, thank you, sir. I really appreciate you taking the time with us. Guys, as I always say, success is in your hands. It's up to you what you do with it. Till next time, God bless.
God bless you. Thank you.
Let me